I've done previous videos on clone fragrances where I tell you guys the ones that are so good they're actually better than the original fragrances that they are based on. The clone fragrance industry is getting bigger, and a lot of brands are saying that there's a big market out there for people who want a more affordable option to these expensive scents. However, I will keep it real with you guys, and I'll let you know when I think clone fragrances aren't worth the money, and actually I think you should save up for the originals, or I just want you to not waste your time with so many clone options out there. So I kind of wanted to create an antithesis of those previous videos where I'm actually going to discuss clone fragrances I do not think you should buy in this video today. I'm going to say to you basically get the original fragrances instead, or just don't buy the clone fragrances in general. I have 11 fragrances I'm going to discuss today. Let's begin. Make sure you check out our brand, Atrium Fragrance, which is on a mission to promote creativity in the industry. By clicking the link in the description below, you gain access to a free sample as a first-time buyer, as well as exclusive written and video fragrance content by joining our newsletter. Enjoy. Armaf Nuit. I feel like Armaf in general is a brand that used to make really good clones, but with how competitive the clone market is nowadays, I think Armaf is going to feature several times in this list, first of all, and I think they're just not as good as they used to be in comparison. So Nuit, first of all, it's meant to be a clone of Creed's Green Irish Tweed. I don't think it's a good fragrance, Nuit. I like Green Irish Tweed, I think it's a masterpiece, but Nuit has nowhere near the quality of the original. It is, to me, what the quality of Cool Water is, but basically in Green Irish Tweed clone form. Cool Water is very similar to Green Irish Tweed in itself, but it's a £20 fragrance, and I feel like Nuit is a similarly priced fragrance and it's similar quality. So in my opinion, I feel like you might as well just buy Cool Water. I kind of think it's a better fragrance, has more character compared to Nuit. And I don't think Nuit just does the clone of Green Irish Tweed that well in general. Maybe there's better clones out there someday. Like there are clones that are super cheap but still have a really good quality. I just do not think Armaf Nuit is up there. It smells synthetic. It kind of gets that green, musky feel of Green Irish Tweed, but I just don't think it's anywhere near as luxurious. I don't really see the reason why you should get it. I personally did not like it. I did not enjoy wearing it. And it has a decent performance, around 6 hours, but overall, I don't think you should waste your time on it. It's not a bad fragrance overall, it's not horrendous, but I don't think it's anything special. Missoni Wave. There was like a time, like a year or 2 years ago, where this was going crazy all over social media.
The hype is real with Missoni Wave.
I think that this is an amazing fragrance that you should buy.
Definitely check this one out.
All over the fragrance community, and I kind of had to buy the bottle just to see what all the hype was about. So it's a clone of already relatively cheap fragrances. I mean, one of them is a Chanel, it's Allure Homme Sport, the original, and Versace Pour Homme, which is not that highly priced anyway. So Missoni Wave is meant to recreate that aquatic, orange, musky cleanliness of these fragrances. They're both very safe, reliable summertime scents. They wear pretty much every day. They are the safe summertime options out there. Missoni Wave, the issue I had with it was that although it's not a badly priced fragrance, it's not a badly performing fragrance, like around 6 to 8 hours, I kind of felt like they went on the soapy side of that DNA way too much. You can tell there's great similarity, like great, you can see they're cloning it, they did a decent job of trying to clone it, but it's just the quality, again, is not there. It's a little bit annoying, a little bit cloying, and I kind of feel like if Versace Pour Homme is not that far in terms of its price anyway, I'd rather you just go for that instead. It's smoother in its blend, and it was created by Alberto Moria, so I just feel like it was a better blended fragrance overall. And then even better for me personally, I would say save up a little bit more for Allure Homme Sports. 32% of people who watch School of Scent are subscribed to us. If you guys want to see our channel grow, to really help us out, click subscribe. Let's get that number to 40%. Thank you. Lattafa Khamrah. Now, this is not a bad fragrance in and of itself, but I can tell they were trying to clone Angel's Share. This fragrance came out shortly after Angel's Share with a very similar name and presentation. I don't think it's crazy to say they're trying to clone that fragrance, and it smells about 80% similar to it. So for me, I was a little bit disappointed by the fact it wasn't that close to the original. It's more of its own kind of slightly amber, boozy kind of fragrance, but that doesn't smell niche. In my opinion, it just doesn't come anywhere near the quality of Angel's Share by Kilian. Angel's Share by Kilian kind of has more high quality ingredients, more high quality naturals, and more interesting gourmand aspects, such as from the praline, and the boozy notes from the cognac is more realistic and apparent as well. Lattafa Khamrah is sort of a much more flat, more safe, not a bad cheapie in and of itself, but as a clone fragrance, I don't think it matches the original that much. You can check it out if you really want an affordable amber, slightly boozy, but slightly soft and slightly flat fragrance overall. You can go for it. It's not a bad performer either. It's like 6 to 8 hours. So you can check it out if you really want to, but as a clone, it's a no-go for me. So we're gonna go back onto the Armaf hate train now. You know, I give Armaf props for some of their clones. I like Club de Nuit Intensement Eau de Parfum. That's a fantastic Aventus clone, but one fragrance I'm going to tell you not to buy is the Club de Nuit Intensement Eau de Toilette. When it first came out, probably before it was reformulated, a lot of people say that about Club de Nuit, the original. It was a great thing for its time. I think it was the most popular clone fragrance at the time. It was one of the first to really bring the clone scene out to life, really. And it was great that they really made Aventus a lot more affordable. But they always had problems with the opening. A lot of people said it smelled like lemon pledge. And I still think the Club de Nuit Intensement Eau de Toilette, although it's not a bad fragrance, there are better alternatives, and also it just doesn't stand the test of time. It's not a good clone fragrance in 2023. So I say just ignore it, go for the other clones like Eau de Parfum of Club de Nuit, or go for Haramain L'Aventure. Second of all, Club de Nuit Untold. This is a recent release by Armaf. A lot of people giving a lot of hype for this, saying it's the Baccarat Rouge killer. It is not the Baccarat Rouge killer in my opinion. It doesn't have anywhere near the quality or the texture behind it. Baccarat Rouge is great for its quality of ingredients. Even though it's an ambroxan based scent, I think they're using a more expensive form of ambroxan that isn't as cloying. It has a sparkle and just a nice texture to the fragrance overall. Maison Francis Kurkdjian obviously has the perfumer to back it, to really make it a special scent DNA, and it's still one of their best sellers for a reason. Untold to me smells like it was instant crush mixed with Baccarat Rouge together. It kind of has that creamy thickness to it. It doesn't have that sparkle, that elegance, that diffusion that the original Baccarat Rouge has. That's why I think it smells like its price tag. It doesn't smell anywhere near as expensive as the original. Club de Nuit Iconic is meant to be Armaf's clone of Bleu De Chanel. Not a bad fragrance. The opening is a bit of a horror show as well. Doesn't smell anything like Bleu de Chanel. Then after like 15 minutes, it becomes a little more similar in fairness. It's a good clone attempt. It's not bad, but again, I would say just save up for Bleu de Chanel. I know Chanel is a pricey brand. It's getting more and more pricey, but I would say just save up for it instead. I get better performance from Bleu de Chanel, Eau de Parfum at least, and it smells much higher quality. Urban Man Elixir is their clone of Dior Sauvage. Again, Sauvage just smells better blended, better quality. It's not hugely expensive. I'd say you can often find really good prices for Sauvage nowadays. Even if you can't get it from a retailer, use Facebook's swapping and selling groups in my opinion. Go for that, guys. Okay, enough Armaf hate. Let's go into some Montblanc hate. Montblanc Legend. So this to me was always meant to be a clone of Abercrombie and Fitch's Fierce. It was definitely inspired by that DNA. From what I've read, I haven't actually smelled modern formulations of Fierce, so I can't comment heavily on that, but I do know of another fragrance, which is Parfum de Marly's Percival. So these three fragrances are currently all in the family of trying to recreate Abercrombie and Fitch's Fierce. What I'm going to say is, comparing Montblanc Legend to Parfum de Marly's Percival, I will say if you want a fantastic performing, high compliment factor, long-lasting, fresh fragrance that can be worn most of the year round, I would say Percival easily takes the cake. You could argue the Montblanc Legend just a cheap, easy grab-and-go fragrance. You know, it's designed for its price tag. Maybe most people buying it won't even know it's meant to be a clone of anything. But even as a cheap fragrance, I just think it smells so bad. I don't think the blend is very nicely done. The ingredients smell really tacky and cheap. It smells like a tacky fragrance overall. It smells really forgettable. In my opinion, if you want to be a forgettable guy, go for Montblanc Legend, the original. I do not like it. I do not advocate for it. And the Eau de Parfum isn't even that much better either. Rasasi Hawas. Now, you might be surprised to see this fragrance on this video. I'm not recommending it as a clone fragrance. I think as a fragrance on its own, it's fantastic. I always recommend it, but as a clone, it's a bit of a mess how rumors about this fragrance kind of got spread around. A lot of people said that this was meant to be a clone of the discontinued Invictus Aqua 2016, which makes no sense because Rasasi Hawas came out first a year before Aqua 2016. But I do think Rasasi Hawas was inspired by the original Invictus, but I do think it's now its own thing, and I think it is better than the original Invictus actually. It's its own beastly, strong, aquatic, bubblegum DNA fragrance that kind of took its own form, and its own fandom was formed around it. It's a really nice, strong summertime fragrance. However, if you want a clone of Aqua 2016, you will not find it there. You will find that in Montblanc's Legend Spirit. So now I'm giving Montblanc some love, and actually I think Legend Spirit is a fantastic clone of Aqua 2016. They kind of smoothed out that DNA, overall. It doesn't have as much character as Equa 2016 in my opinion, but I still think for its price tag, and you can usually find it on discounters, it's a fantastic, fantastic fragrance. That's definitely the clone I recommend instead. Don't try to hunt down for discontinued bottles of Equa 2016. I have that fragrance, or I think I do. I'm not sure if I still have it, but it's not worth the price. Don't pay hundreds of pounds for it. Don't pay hundreds of dollars. It's not worth it. And the last two fragrances I'm going to discuss are from a brand I usually actually recommend, and that is Alexandria Fragrances. So this is a clone house from an Egyptian perfumer, I believe, who's based in California. Most of their fragrances are clones. They do have a few original creations, one of them being Hafez 1984, which I always recommend on this channel. But the two clone fragrances I tried from them, I tried a bunch of their fragrances out. One of them is Royal Equestrian, which is meant to be their clone of Leighton. Now, Royal Equestrian, I would say, is about 80% similar to Leighton. It's not that accurate of a clone. It falls flat. It's missing a lot of the features of Leighton. It has sort of like the floral, woody vanilla of Leighton, and it's missing everything else, like the spices, the apple in there. And that kind of makes it a more simplistic and a little bit more of a flat fragrance overall. It's quite pleasant, but it's not Leighton quality. And Leighton itself has much better clones, such as in Al Haramain's Detour Noir. So it wasn't a bad fragrance for me to own the 5 ml of, but I ended up giving the remaining few mLs of the sample to a friend. I thought it was a nice fragrance, but it's not the clone you're looking for. And finally, Alexandria Fragrances Zion, which is meant to be their clone of Rouge's Elysium. Now, Elysium itself, I kind of give a little bit of flack to it. I'm not sure if it's worth its price tag, especially seeing as it kind of fits into the Aventus-esque family. It's definitely not a clone, definitely not a clone of Aventus. I'm not saying that, but it's kind of in that family of that bright, smoky, citrus-based summer DNA, but it's focused a little bit more on drier notes, such as through the vetiver that they use. But it's definitely a well-blended fragrance, and it's definitely got a lot more naturals. Zion, to me, smells like they've kind of got a like 85% similar clone scent profile to Elysium, but they've got the quality of Club de Nuit Intense Man Eau de Toilette. And now you guys know how I feel about that fragrance from watching this video. So I feel like Zion is just a much lower quality version of Elysium. Whether or not Elysium is worth the price to you is a point of contention, but I do not recommend Zion. I bought a bottle of it and I don't really touch it. I'm not really a fan of it and I do not recommend it. And that concludes this video, guys. What are your thoughts on the clone fragrances listed today? You may enjoy some of them. Let us know if you disagree. Give me your opposing point of view in the comments down below. I don't want this video to be too negative, but I don't want you guys to waste your time. Let's say waste your time experiencing clone fragrances that I don't think are worth it. There are so many clone fragrances out there nowadays. 2023 is saturated with a lot of these clone brands and a lot of clone fragrances. So hopefully you guys found this video useful, and hopefully you can make wiser purchasing decisions about which fragrances you're going to acquire next. What are your thoughts on clone fragrances? Are there any that you feel are particularly great? Let us know in the comments down below as well, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out our previous video on clone fragrances I do recommend. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.